Welcome to RecTalk live at the Expo. I was so waiting for you guys to just be like, what's next? Yeah. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and so have my panel. So bear with us. We will mumble and bumble our way through this, but thank you guys for still being here and sitting. And yeah, this is cool. It's weird that there's a crowd that way and not that way, but fine. So this episode is a panel episode that we've put together. Throughout this year, I've met some really incredible people. I get a chance to sit and talk to so many people about kind of what they're doing and that kind of thing. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to platform some of those people and go through the top 10 tips to finish your 2024 on a high. I'm going to pass it over to my panel now to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name's Saeed. I'm the founder of EmbeddedOps. I work with recruitment agencies of all different sizes, advising on all things operational. Lots of RecTalk suppliers here. I help with vendor selection and designing business cases and requirements. So if you have anything operational questions on your agency, just come and ask me. I love talking about it.
Hello, thank you for having me, Nitin. So my name's Clarke. I am the group CEO of a recruitment firm called the OA Group. A little bit about me, I have for my sins 4 children. 2 of them are under 3, so I have a very busy work life trying to run a business of around 50 people, and I absolutely love recruitment and my job and the industry. So anything recruitment, business development, sales, growth related, I'm your girl.
Thanks, Laura. So my name's Clarke. I'm the Group Commercial Director at a professional services company called WTT. There you go.
Thank you guys for being here. And I'm your host, Nitin Sharma, host of RecTalk, the fastest growing podcast in the recruitment sector. Right, let's kick it off. Laura, do you want to go through your 3 points?
Yes. When trying to think of 3 points, 3 tips that I can give to end 2024 on a really good high, I was trying to think of something really simple and easy that we can implement really quickly and do that's accessible to everyone. So my first is excellence through execution. So for me, it's something that I live by and we speak about quite a lot within the business, and it's simply really the ability to turn an idea, a strategy, into the reality and drive results. And I think very few people are actually able to turn an idea into something tangible. That's the biggest skill gap that I see when it comes to either scaling a business or starting a desk or a new job, is actually turning what the visions that you have into real actions and results. So a few little things from me on this point is, first of all, you have to know what it is that you want to achieve and why it's important to you. I think we set out on goals quite a lot, but we don't really relate to why we want to achieve it. You have to know why something's important for you to actually drive success. Secondly, is actually identify a transition point. So what is the first thing that you need to do to take the step to achieve that result? And it might be something really simple like having a conversation, it might be sending an email, it might be starting a project, but you need to actually make that first step to start it. You need to commit to start, so you need to put time aside. Whenever you want to achieve something in these next 3 months, you need to actually put time aside to make sure that you achieve it. Quite simple, but something that we just don't do enough in a really fast-paced recruitment world. And then one of the biggest things for me on a kind of execution and taking a step forward is the emotional courage that you need to have to do that. What I mean by that is, I think we've all been there before, where you start a task and it feels uncomfortable, or you feel like you don't know how to take the next step and you just stop for whatever reason. You've got to work through that, and that actually takes quite a lot of emotional courage. And I would say 90% of people stop at that hurdle. You've got to work through that pain point, because that's the difference between being great and just being average, and then repeat. So that's my tip number 1. Tip 2 is stay in your own lane. I think quite a lot about how people compare other people's grass quite a lot. I don't really care what your grass looks like. I'm focusing on mine being really damn green. And I think that we really need to make sure that when we're trying to build something for the next 3 months and going into 2025, we're focusing on our own lane. again, you know, for me, comparison is really the thief of joy. We were talking quite a lot about it. I was talking yesterday to a few people about this. It's not just the thief of joy, it's the thief of time, and it's the thief of energy. We've got to focus on what we want to achieve and stop focusing on everyone else's journey. So to do that, you need to make sure you know what you want your lane to look like. So what do you want to achieve in the next 3 months? And secondly, you need to really have some short-term goals that are achievable and tangible. Something that is really important to me on this point is reducing the noise around you when it comes to focusing on your own lane. It's really easy to be distracted constantly by watching someone overtake you. Everyone's had a great year or not had a great year. Don't be interested in what everyone else is doing unless it's actually going to input into your own lane. Focus on your own noise. Get off your phone, reduce your screen time, get off social media, and focus on you, your business, your desk, whatever it is that you want to achieve. And my last point on this, and it's a bit fluffy, is practicing gratitude. And I don't want eye rolls. I know some people don't like this whole thing, but actually being really grateful for what you've got and what you're doing within your own business, within your own desk. You don't have to journal. I mean, I love journaling, but you just need to understand that those small steps that you're making to progress in your lane is so important, and you should reset, refocus, and make sure that you look and appreciate what it is that you're achieving. And then my third point, which is poignant because we're here today networking, is actually making sure that we just talk, connect, and meet a lot of people, as many as you can, that are actually going to add value to your journey in the next 3 months. We're all really frightened of AI. AI can't at the moment go out and meet people and make relationships, so go and do that. Go and do the things that tech can't do. So I run workshops within my business around networking, and we use a really, really simple tool that we can all do, which is draw yourself in a circle, write round your name the kind of skills that you think you need to do to have a really great next 3 months. Write the kind of knowledge you want to have, and just sit and think about people you know in your network that can help you with those. You will be so surprised the amount of people that you know, from ex-colleagues, old bosses, friends, family, people that you know that are contacts of contacts, clients. Map it out and be intentional with going out and finding those people that are going to help you reach your goals. You can't do it alone, so go and ask for help. They're my 3. Thank you.
Me. Let's go. Hi. So, my first tip is know your numbers. I know that anyone that heard Greg Savage speak yesterday morning, I heard him speak, talking about knowing your metrics, knowing your numbers, knowing your ratios. There are so many numbers in recruitment that can help you steer your agency. Like, not just from a ability to make placements quicker or deliver a good service to clients, but also from setting up your agency tactically, setting up your work, your team, your consultants, on what they should focus on that week. So knowing your numbers, particularly for this last quarter, have a look at your ratios, have a look at your average fee, have a look at your time to deal, and actually work out, what do I need to do today to actually get some invoices out before the end of the year, if that's what you're focused on. And if the time to bill means that you're not going to be able to get them out, then start thinking about what we need to do that looks good this quarter to help set up Q1. My second point was, I called it an autopsy, but someone said it would be better as a post-mortem. But I like to look at the previous quarter and really, really have a couple of hours where you're pulling out every data point that you can from your system. I'm a big fan of OneUp. They're not paying me to mention that, but I do love OneUp. And what you can do with OneUp, pulling out all your performance metrics and activity metrics, looking and seeing what actually worked and what didn't. Because a lot of people feel like they're busy. We tell people to do more, but actually sometimes we end up doing more of the stuff that doesn't actually end up making us any money or making us any placements. So Q3 autopsy or post-mortem, whatever you'd like to call it. And my last one, consistency. So it's really easy when things aren't going right to just change tact. You know, I've used this one spec email template I'm not getting any bites, so I'm switching. You've only sent it to 5 people. How do you know it's not going to work? You haven't done the follow-up email. You know, so consistency of approach. So if you are going to be carrying out a sales initiative, a BD initiative, whatever it might be, stick to it. Like, run it for a quarter, look at the data behind it, see if it's worked, but don't keep flitting between it. I have a client at the moment who I go in every Monday, and we leave on a Monday, and we agree we're going to do something for a week. And by Wednesday, I catch up on Teams, and they've already scrapped it, changed it. And then on the following Monday, so we didn't have a good week last week. And it's like, well, you kind of did 4 or 5 different things, and we didn't even, like, there was no data behind any of the decisions, any of the tactics being set. So consistency. Set your strategy, stick to it, run it for a quarter, conduct the autopsy or post-mortem in Jan for Q4.
Thanks, Nitin. Cheers, Saeed. Cheers, Laura. I guess, so we've only got 7 minutes here to talk. So the first thing I'd like to say is, if anybody does want to speak to me, or I'm sure anybody else on the panel later, we're more than happy to go through in as much detail as you like. So my 3 points, and the first one of that is consider US expansion. So I have done a lot of travel over the last few years to various different countries, and without any shadow of a doubt, UK recruiters are the best recruiters in the world. You are brought up in an almost a gladiatorial arena. It is the most saturated market that I'm aware of. Everybody's being pushed down on prices. SLAs are really high, which is giving a great experience for the consumer, but it's a very, very tough market. But what that breeds is very, very good recruiters. Now, if you mix that into the world's largest market, which is currently generating around 180 billion-ish, compared to second place Japan at around 90, and then third place the UK at around 44, you've now put the best recruiter in the world in the largest staffing revenue market in the world. And US end clients also realise and appreciate that as well. So you've got a highly transient market in the US. So they have something called at-will employment. So the employer can release the employee at any time without reason, and the employee can leave at any time without reason, which has swings and roundabouts. For a recruiter, that's amazing, because you find the candidate today, you're placing them in the role tomorrow. There's no 12-week notice periods. Highly transient, fantastic. And you've also got an average of a 30% margin, because you are seen as a real value add to that business. They need you, unlike a UK end client, and I hate using this phrase of almost seen as a necessary evil. When the internal recruiter can't necessarily fill the role, then they'll start outsourcing to an external recruiter. You're seen as a true partner to that business. As long as you understand the values, as long as you really get that business, you can really make a successful business in the US. Now, it is complex. There's federal law, there's state law, then you have state laws underneath it. But as long as you get the right partners, as long as you get the right advice, it's actually a lot more accessible than what you may believe it is. And you can do it from the place where you're working today. You can be in a kitchen in Waltham Cross, you can be in Bolton, you can be in your office in London. You may even have some recruiters at the moment in your office who are not necessarily performing all that well. So you're not really sure what you should be doing with them. Maybe you try them on the US. So that's one thing that I would definitely consider. And all the points that I'm making today, I have got first-hand experience in, and seen some recruiters do really, really well, or the businesses that I've been working in do really, really well as well. So that's the first one, the US. The next one is called a blue ocean strategy. And the reason I picked this was actually because of one of the WhatsApp groups that I'm in. And there was a message around somebody pitching for a role, and they went in and they lost it, and so did a few other people in the WhatsApp group as well. And then they found out that somebody had put a document in which said they pitched around 13%, and the line underneath that was, we're willing to go dramatically lower than that upon negotiation. Well, everybody was going in much higher. So what blue ocean strategy is if you think of a blue ocean as an uncontested market and a red ocean as a contested market, really recruiters in the most case are operating in a red ocean. It's a highly contested market. There's very few USPs potentially if you're going in with a standard job matching type approach. But really you can change all of that. And if the end client isn't seeing the value that you can add, that's actually not their fault. That's yours, because you're not demonstrating that value to them. So then what happens is the only thing that they can negotiate on is the part that they see some form of difference in, and that's usually your price. So they start differentiating and negotiating on that price. So if you operate a blue ocean strategy, you're trying to do something a little bit different. Some of the agencies that I've worked with who are really going through hyper growth at the moment, they don't even talk about recruitment on the phone. They have a policy where they will not say the word recruitment. It's all about solutions. They've got different packages. They're really selling something that looks and feels completely different to the person who is also pitching for that same role. So I've worked in a business where when I first went in, 100% of all of our sales went from BD outbound. When I left, 70% of all of our sales came from inbound, and that was largely through our blue ocean strategy. And sales went up as well. It wasn't 70% of inbound and we got less sales. Sales went through the roof. So I would definitely say try and adopt some form of true differentiation in what you were doing, because if you're just pitching the same thing as everybody else, great, you'll have great rapport, but ultimately it'll come down to your price, which we all know it's a race to the bottom at the moment. And the next one, I'm going to try and sexy this up as much as I can, but enable compliance for growth. As it stands right now, if you've got no issues in your business, you may struggle, if you just think about it for a few seconds, to understand the importance of compliance and how that helps you for growth. However, knowing that HMRC have had 6.2 million in criminal finances cases in 2023, 12,500 cases, actually you could be the most compliant business on the planet. If HMRC come in, it causes disruption within your business. Have you got robust processes that you can demonstrate to minimise that disruption within the people within your business, within yourself, so you can sleep better? We've got Barry here, WTT, legal terms. Having a great set of legal terms not only protects your business, but actually can put you in a great commercial place as well. That can mean that there's a great relationship, there's a great ongoing relationship, and really we don't want transactional business. We want long-term sustainable business, and terms can do that. They can also make sure you get paid on time when you're meant to get paid as well. Loads of things here. There was, have you got relevant insurances to cover your business? I actually know a business that was a fantastic business. They were making money. It was a very small business. And unfortunately, they got done for a misclassification test. They thought they was doing the right thing, and they ended up getting shut down because of that. It wasn't necessarily their fault, but due to the way the system works and the litigation, they couldn't afford the litigation. Whereas just a simple process, which I know they would have done in hindsight, would have really helped them. Compliance can be quite tricky. So I would say just get some advice from a really good advisor, good consultant. Most good consultants, advisors in that space, professional services, will normally do a consultation of some form for free. Yeah, they're going to pitch you something at the end of it, but we're all here to sell something ultimately. But just build up a good relationship with a trusted advisor who can give you some great advice on your business. And they're my 3 points.
Oh, thank you, guys. So that's 9 points so far. So I figured I'd chuck in the last one. Mine's really straightforward. It's to redefine your goals. So for me, what that is kind of, do you all remember when we were little, we all had a dream job, right? We're footballer or fireman, policeman, ballerina, whatever. And then you kind of grow up and you change your mind and you decide you want to do something else and then something else. At what point in our lives do we get to where it's wrong to accept that you've taken a wrong turn in life? Like, at what point did we get to as adults? When is that point where we go, oh no, I don't feel happy doing what I'm doing anymore, but I have to carry on. I have to continue doing this because this is the thing to do. I'm telling you from experience, this time last year, my recruitment business failed and went under. I could have gone, I'm going to stay in recruitment, just go and get another job or start again and do it again and that kind of thing. But I'm kind of an advocate for just redefine your goals. Have a look at what's important to you, not just your why, but kind of the overall picture, what makes you happy. Though some of you, like a lot of you actually here that know me, will know that I start my day at 9:30. My work day starts 9:30. That's because I take my kids to school every day because that's important to me. And then I have coffee with my mum or breakfast if I have time to, because that's important to me. And that's a non-negotiable. 5 years ago, if you'd have said that to me, I'd have laughed and been like, no, I have to get to the office. I've got to do this. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. And it kind of felt like I was doing a to-do list. But the to-do list is not my list. This is somebody else's to-do list that I'm just having to check off and do because I've ended up in this situation. And so for me, it was really key to kind of look at it and go, you just need to redefine your goals. What do you want from this? We're in very kind of turbulent economic times. You know, a lot of you here set up your recruitment businesses kind of pre-pandemic. You've survived a pandemic. You've survived multiple governments, multiple kind of prime minister changes, political issues. You know, things are different. We're in a different world. We've got AI that's taken over. We've got, you know, a redefinition of what people consider to be success. People consider to be their priorities. Staff aren't motivated by the same things that we were. We're in a different world. So it's okay to redefine your goals. Look at what you set out to originally achieve and just ask yourself genuinely, is this what I want to do? Or have I taken a wrong turn somewhere along the way? Because the men amongst us all know, you know, we take a left turn that we shouldn't have taken and we just keep going until we see a roundabout and then we'll go back, right? We're always like, no, we'll figure it out. My wife hates that I do that, but that's the point. Just stop and turn around and go another way that makes you happy. Because that's the whole point of why we're here, right? We don't do this for any other reason. We go to work to earn a living, to provide a life for ourselves and enjoy the life that we have. But for some reason, we lost sight of that when we were kids or growing up between that time. Just redefine your goals. That's my take on it. So, yeah, thank you for listening to my little trauma dump there. Like Clarke said, please grab us, connect with us, follow us, whatever you need to do, you know, pick our brains. But, I mean, it looks like we've got just under 10 minutes. So we'll turn this into a Q&A panel if you want. Has anyone got any questions? Otherwise, we'll just sit here and like chat shit amongst ourselves for a bit.
If there are no, I've got one more point that I wanted to fit in. Go on. Does anybody have any questions? Because I don't want to talk if you do. So I recently had nearly 2 months off work, through choice. I wanted to reflect, recharge, and really understand what I wanted to do. Actually, similar in vein to what Nitin was just talking. So I did something called Unplugged. So I basically did a digital detox. I stayed in a cabin that was all glass-walled in a forest. They put your phone in a box. Probably sounds quite scary right now to some of you. It did to me at the time. They take all your electronics off you. You are left with your own thoughts, which can be a terrible thing if you've got thoughts to what I had. And you're really left with nothing but yourself and a good time to reflect on your own thoughts. So as I went through that experience, I really learned a lot about myself. But what I also learned was, at the end of it, the only person who actually texted me was my mum asking me what I wanted for my tea. So I didn't really miss much. But one of my biggest takeaways, and I had a lot, was just how much noise we have in our businesses and our lives that actually doesn't even really matter. You probably deal with 50%, during a day, 50% of the stuff you deal with probably isn't important. If you actually strip 50% of that stuff away, is it helping your business to grow? Is it helping your people to grow? Or is it helping you to grow? Because actually, if it isn't, you probably shouldn't be doing it. So if you could strip away that 50% and understand what are the actual true drivers to your business, not the noise that you're dealing with on a day-to-day business, you're effectively getting 2.5 days a week back, which you can then reinvest into your business and to grow. So the takeaway for me from sitting in a forest was my mum is the only person who actually cares about what I'm having for my tea. And also, I deal with an awful lot of noise, or dealt with an awful lot of noise that I found out 5 days coming out that actually, nothing had changed. Absolutely nothing had changed. My mates were still sat in the pub. People were still dealing with various different things in the businesses, but they were just dealing with noise. So my fourth tip would be just try and really reflect on what you do on a day-to-day and strip out the noise that isn't helping you, your people, or your business to grow.
Yeah, I love that. Are there any questions? Oh, go on, Jack.
I'll text my mum in a minute.
Well, here's one then. If there's no questions, have you guys got tips for one another? We're all peers. We're all here to kind of help and support and help each other, right? So based on what you've heard, based on what you've seen over the last couple of days, Has anyone here got any tips that they would like to share with everyone else? Come on, Barry. Save me here, mate. Oh, go on, Luke, yeah.
It's kind of for the pair of you. It was more aimed at the consistency and the redefine your goals point of, I understand that you're going to want to be consistent and, like you say, chase that path. But do you have a strategy for understanding when you've got to turn around? Because it's all good saying, let's be consistent, but what if that is the wrong strategy? What if that is the wrong path? How do you identify that and do a U-turn?
Good question. I think when you are setting yourself up, so let's say, for example, you've decided to do, what can we do? A BD campaign, for example, and let's say you've decided, I'm going to target these job titles, these levels of positions as contacts within this sector of the market, and I'm going to approach them with this message and this sequence. Once you've defined what that looks like, you know what your general return is from your BD campaigns. So if you set out to achieve a number of meetings and track against that, if you are getting nothing over a course of 2-3 weeks, let's say you're running it for a month, if you get nothing in 2-3 weeks, I would still say you see it out, because actually if you're running things like a campaign which are sequential and you need to wait for all the steps to finish, I'd say you keep running it. I wouldn't be changing tax weekly. I'd be trying to get a good month's worth of data on something and commit to it. Unless someone's replying and saying, what are you sending me? You know, this is, yeah, unless someone actually clearly just calls you out for just, this is silly, I would be running it for a month. But you got to know what you want to get out of it. So if the result you're looking for is meetings and you're not getting meetings, then that's when you know you've got to switch it up. But the consistency piece is also more so that you're collecting data on the things you've tried. So stuff you try in January, you can then look back on and go, right, why didn't that work? Actually, maybe it was the segmenting or the people we're going after. It could be just a small tweak that you have to do to get the result. So it's all about tracking it as well as staying consistent. But happy to chat afterwards.
I'll be your mic guy. I'll be your mic guy.
I don't think so.
Hi, Laura. 4 children and running a business is unbelievable. So congratulations to you on that. My business partner's having that challenge right now. She's got 2 children under 6 and she's trying to lead a business. She suffers with guilt on both sides. Guilt not doing the business, guilt with the children. Any advice of how you organise yourself and how you deal with that?
Oh, I get asked this question lots. And I never have an answer that's any good, apart from, I think really the reality of it is that you just have to really push through and keep going and have a real good balance. And I use this analogy all the time about, it sounds a bit weird what I'm about to say, but juggling balls. Yeah, right. I made that weird. So I kind of the way I look at it is that we're always, we're juggling, right? And so sometimes there's glass balls that you just cannot drop. And there might be times where my children are those glass balls where I need to go and watch a football match that's really important or go and see a show and business weights. And sometimes there's a business project that's the glass ball that I'm juggling that I can't drop and I have to drop something else. And I think you can't have guilt about that, because the way I choose to raise my children is that they understand that I'm working and it's for a reason, but I'll make sure I'm present at the same time. I also think, probably quite controversially, the guilt sometimes comes from external noise and opinions, and I get that quite a lot. And I think that you have to detach yourself from people that make you feel that way, because there's no right or wrong. I've got friends and really close people in my life that have chosen to not work and raise children, and I'd never make them feel a certain way. But you do find there are people in the world that it might be a way they look at you or a snigger or a question that's loaded, but you need to work out whether it's guilt because you're not doing enough or guilt that someone else places on you. And they're 2 very different things. So I think, look, I'm still in the thick of it. My 2 little girls are 3 and 2 years old. So I'm coming through the hard part of the little children. And my 2 boys are slightly older, but it doesn't get any easier. You just have to work out, kind of going to your point, whether these are the goals that I really set for myself, or am I just doing it and plodding it along? Is it important to me? And I love what I do, so that's what I choose to do. If I didn't, it'd be a lot harder. Thank you.
Any other questions, or would anyone like to share some advice? Go on, Barry. You're go on. This might come in there. There you go.
I just want to follow on from Laura's because I think that plays through. My wife calls it radiators, not drains. So surround yourself with people that make you happy and warm, not drain all the emotion out of you. I think people, especially in economic challenging times, need to do the same thing with their clients.
Yeah.
Because we so often look at a client and there's this recruitment pipe dream of they're a good client. And we say they're a good client just because we've got a lot of jobs or because we make a lot of revenue, but we don't look at every other part of that business. And, we're massively overserved. We might make revenue, but we're massively overservicing them. They make our people unhappy. They're just a pain in the ass to deal with. And I take quite a cathartic piece from sacking clients. I really enjoy it.
Oh, love it.
So if I don't, it might just be literally I don't like them. And if I don't like them, I'm not going to work with them. Or they're bad to my people. That's it. You're done. You get one chance and you're out. I don't care how much money I make off you. My people are more important than any client because I replace a client. And I think it's a little problem we have in the recruitment industry. People think the client is the god.
Yeah.
And what they don't recognize is actually if there's 3 people in the relationship, client, candidate, recruiter, the client's probably the least important one. Because the candidates, if we call it the commodity, the recruiter's the one that gets you access to that. And if it's not that client, it's the next one. So we just need to value ourselves a little bit more and recognize actually if it's not you, it's someone else.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Love that. Thank you for that, Barry. Right, well, I think that wraps us up, guys. Unless there's any more questions or anything anyone wants to chuck in. Oh, we have one. Yes.
We are actually in healthcare recruitment business, and I am actually quite interested in the US expansion. I have made few attempts to actually expand our business into US, but we don't really know how to get into US market. Because one, we operated in UK and we don't know how US healthcare business works. Is there any way that we can get a lead into that? Because we're really, really interested into expanding into US.
Yes.
That's a whole nother podcast. But no, pick up with Clarke outside. And
we'll have a good catch up. Really good question. You can fail hard, you can fail fast, you can spend a lot of money doing it in the US. But with the right advice, you can definitely make the opportunity work. But let's have a proper catch up afterwards.
Yeah, Clarke's your man.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Barry.
Guys, thank you so much
valued.
for giving us your time and your ears and your attention and everything else. I want to thank the panel for giving up their sort of time and energy and really putting themselves out there because they've not done anything like this before and nor have I. So thank you very much, and we'll hopefully see you again.
Really appreciate it.